It's May 4th, 2014, the opening round of the NBA playoffs. We're at the Air Canada Centre for Do or Die Game 7. The mature, seasoned, old Nets are up 1 point on the energetic, youthful, inexperienced Raptors, but the kids have the ball. Both these franchises are desperate for a win. I mean, nobody wants to go home, but there's more to it than that. Let's rewind. This Raptors crowd is on their feet, except for these two, but that's probably because they're too stressed out to stand. Might faint. You see, this is the most exciting, meaningful game the Raptors have gotten to be a part of in a long time. The Raptors' last winning season was 2007. Last playoffs, 2008. Without a winning record, they were 500 and the Eastern Conference was weak. But being 500 is a lot better than what happened in 2011. 2012 saw improvement, but not the kind that can make you hopeful or happy or not embarrassed. But in the offseason, Toronto added some promising players around DeMar DeRozan, who himself was bound to break through to the next level any day. The 2013 season was supposed to be different. No, not worse different. To slap a duct tape patch on the leaking boat, GM Brian Colangelo traded for Rudy Gay. Gay became Toronto's leading scorer, and they finished 10th in the East. At the last home game, Gay told the crowd to just wait for next year. Few outside Toronto shared Gay's optimism. The Raptors were predicted to be a long shot for the 2014 playoffs, and their start seemed to confirm those predictions. The magic of last season was gone. Rudy Gay was not shooting well, and was shooting a lot. Meanwhile, the Raptors had a new GM, Masai Ujiri, the reigning executive of the year. And in early December, he was like, well, I didn't bring Rudy Gay here. Turns out the reigning executive of the year knew what he was doing. This playoff longshot ended up third in the East. Probably helped that the Eastern Conference was weak. Sorry, I don't mean to taint the accomplishment. Though right now, the Raptors are on the verge of a bigger accomplishment, the second round berth. And you know who's just as excited as all these people here? The Nets fans watching at home, for they too have been waiting a long time to see their team thrive and prosper. Okay, the Nets were in the playoffs last year, more on that later, but look at their 2010 record. In 2011, they won 24 games, which isn't a lot unless you compare it to 12 games. And 2013 was going to be different. The franchise moved to Brooklyn and traded for Joe Johnson to team up with Deron Williams. Owner Mikhail Prokhorov had set his sights on the Eastern Conference Finals. And yeah, that seemed possible. But that's not what happened. At least the disappointing season opened the door for the Nets to shake things up. Shortly after bowing out of the playoffs, the Nets hired a new coach, former franchise hero Jason Kidd. General consensus was, Kidd's smart, and this is a good move. Also considered a good move? This one. With a couple ring-toting future Hall of Famers added to the roster, the Nets suddenly became title contenders. In fact, they kinda had to win now. But don't worry about any of that, because look, the Nets starting five, all All-Stars. There are high expectations for this group, but they're equipped to meet them, right? What? Alright, first of all, Jason Kidd had some beginners... what's the opposite of luck and also your own fault? Beginners not good at coaching? He also feuded with his top assistant in what sure seemed like an ego trip. Nothing got better when Brook Lopez, the predicted best player on the stacked team, broke his foot in late December. But in January, Kidd turned into that intelligent coach everyone thought he'd be. He converted to a small lineup, and bingo bango, the Nets were good. Plus, some of those losses were suspect, because they might have tanked their last handful of games so they'd have an inexperienced, nervous, ostensibly easier opponent. It's mean, but there is a large gap in playoff experience between these two teams. And Toronto lost Game 1, mostly because of inexperience. Speaking of Lowry, here he is cutting to get open on the most important play in Raptors' recent history. which is kind of surprising because it wasn't always obvious he'd still be a Raptor by the 2014 postseason. This is only Kyle Lowry's second year in Toronto. The Raptors got him for the 2013 season, and it was not a match made in heaven. Lowry was Toronto's second choice. Then he showed up to camp out of shape. And if you recall, the 2013 season started terribly. Lowry didn't prove to be the leader of best-case scenario predictions, nor the competent point guard of regular-case scenario predictions. After an embarrassing 32-point loss in early December, the players held a meeting and blasted Lowry for playing selfishly. A few days later, the maligned point guard tore his tricep. Just an all-around super fun season for Kyle Lowry. When he returned from injury, he'd lost his starting spot to Jose Calderon. Lowry tried to play less selfishly, but ended up being passive to a fault. He wasn't about to win his starting spot back. But then he caught a break. In the first Rudy Gay trade, the one for Gay, Toronto had to give up Calderon, so Lowry became the de facto starter. Coach Dwayne Casey embraced his new point guard and showed trust in him, which, along with having a secure spot, was good for Lowry. He found a way to play less selfishly without falling into passivity, and his team benefited. But in the offseason, new GM Ujiri was kind of like, good job in April only? And made a deal to send Lowry to the Knicks. But at the last minute, the Knicks called it off, so Lowry remained the Raptors starter, for the time being. Ujiri clearly saw him as trade fodder. When Toronto started off this year so terribly, Lowry seemed like a goner. Even after Rudy Gay was traded away, Lowry wasn't safe. He'd be next, we all thought. But then, something happened. Toronto's new Rudy Gay-less offense was good for Lowry. He stepped up and made himself indispensable. In February, the Knicks said they actually did want him now. Sounds like a really solid camp over there. But Toronto shut it down right away. Lowry had taken control of this team with the lead-by-example method, as you can see most clearly in the back half of this series. In Game 4's win, Lowry was playing on a knee so painful he was noticeably limping and couldn't sit down during timeouts. But he put up 22 points, including a hook shot over Kevin Garnett in the final minutes. Playing so hard and so well through his pain was emblematic of Lowry's leadership. His effort and tenacity were contagious. And Lowry wasn't done yet. He had maybe the best time of his life in Game 5. He hit a halftime buzzer beater and 2 clutch shots down the stretch. I'm assuming Lowry would rather us not talk about Game 6. But in tonight's Game 7, he's back. Well, in the fourth quarter, he came back. He has 28 points so far, 13 of which were in the fourth as he dug his team out of a 9-point deficit. So, Lowry is certainly an option to get the ball right now. The other option, of course, is DeMar DeRozan, the team's lone all-star. Although, considering this guy is guarding him, maybe the ball's not headed his way. Drafted by the Celtics in '98, Paul Pierce led them back to relevance by 2002. But that was the best they did for a while. After the '07 season, Pierce told management he was frustrated, ready to find a new team. And they were like, hold on, what if we became one of those big 3 teams? With those reinforcements, Boston immediately won a championship, and Pierce was the finals MVP. 2008 was, for sure, the highlight of Pierce's career. He saw the finals again in 2010, but lost. And a few years after that, his age was starting to show. Just a little, but it's a slippery slope. In January of the 2013 season, the press declared the 10-time All-Star's talent was eroding. His performance in the Celtics' first-round elimination confirmed that notion. Though Pierce had expressed desire to retire a Celtic, Boston had other plans. They went into rebuilding mode and sent 2 of their aging stars to Brooklyn. So suddenly, after his 15th season, the 36-year-old Pierce was on his second team ever. It wasn't an easy transition, as you can see at the Nets press conference announcing him.
It really brings a little bit of excitement, obviously.
That's the saddest way to say the word excitement. Or maybe he was just really tired because he's old? In the early, dark months of the Nets season, people might have bought that argument. Pierce looked like he should think about retirement. He even came off the bench for a handful of games as Kidd tried to figure out what was wrong with his team. But when Kidd switched to that small lineup in January, Pierce was saved. As a 4 instead of a 3, Pierce was playing against bigger, slower, clumsier defenders. Sure, he'd lost a step with age, but the new position gave him a speed advantage back. You might think being the shortest starting power forward in the league would come with some defensive downsides, but not really. Pierce can defend the post because he's strong enough. And also very confident. That can't hurt. When the Nets are trapping, his relative quickness is a blessing. Or a curse from DeRozan's point of view. DeMar's had some good games this series, but when he struggled in Game 1, it was the traps that killed him. Pierce won Game 1 for the Nets. It wasn't just good D, he took over down the stretch, scoring 9 straight in the final 2 minutes. But other than Game 1, Pierce has been just okay to kinda bad. I mean, he did have 22 points in Game 4, but that was a loss, so if a tree falls in the forest, does it matter if it's a big tree or a small tree? Still fell. Tonight, he scored 10 points in the first half, and 0 points in the second half. So, with 8.8 seconds left and a 1-point lead, Kidd had very little interest in using his little power forward. On the inbound play, Kidd stationed Pierce in the backcourt, where he is standing still. But hang on, this play isn't working. The Nets had to use their final timeout. Okay, maybe they will use Pierce. On take 2, he didn't set up in the backcourt, but the guy between him and the ball is the reigning slam dunk contest winner. Terrence Ross tips it and then saves it off Pierce. Raptors ball, 6.2 seconds left. Off their own timeout, Toronto sets up on the wrong side of the court. The ball went out over here, so they have to take it out on this side. Their coach made a mistake drawing up the play, and the young, inexperienced Raptors just have to roll with it. So here we are. Season on the line, Raptors down 1 with the ball on the far side of the court. The Nets need a stop to save face. They were supposed to be a win-now team, and that referred to a championship, not the first round. The Raptors need a basket to put their stamp on this league. They might not have experience, but they aren't shaken in their shoes either. No matter which way it falls, in 6.2 seconds, a fan base that has maybe forgotten how to celebrate is going to have to figure out what to do when they're happy. Welcome to a moment in history.
To use. Vasquez looking, still looking. Gets it to Lowry at 5 seconds. Lowry, Williams the tight defense. Here is Lowry on the deck through 2. Lowry put it up. It's blocked by Pierce, and the Nets win the series.
Thank you for watching, and throw us a subscribe while you're at it. And check out these other videos, they'll be fun, or I'll eat my hat. I just want to know what it tastes like. For Secret Base, I'm Clara Morris. Good night and good game.